himself, and that was Courtnall to sneak away from Brian Mullen. And Ben Beesbrook, he also saw, I think, was expecting Hunter to backhand that shot in there. It went preparing for it, and that left a lot of room for him.
Then the Caps got going on the power play, and after being stopped once, Mike Gartner comes back the second time to make it 2-0.
It's an excellent play by Hunter. Gets down there. He's got the backhand. Gets 2 of the 4 penalty. They're committed over toward 4 penalty killers out there, committed over towards him. Mike Gartner uses his speed to jump in that little seam that created and just blast the slap shot past Van Beesbrook. Remember, just moments before that, he had been stopped on a nice little setup on the other side of the net.
Talk about a setup. It sure led to a nice play for Mike Miller's first goal as a Washington Capital. The pass out comes from Gustafsson into the corner, and Christian puts it right on his stick.
Well, this is a beautiful play by Christian. The shot is stopped and saved. Now look at James Patrick starts to clear it. Gustafsson lifts his arms and stick up to get it away from Patrick. Now it goes over to Christian, and Christian doesn't hesitate. He sees the defenseman, Greshner, is way up there, and that Mike Miller is down on the net. And Mike Miller showing you that good goal-scoring touch that got him 31 goals in 31 games when he was playing in Baltimore.
All right, let's check other scores from other games now around the National Hockey League. And first, we'll talk about Buffalo and Hartford. The Buffalo Sabres in the lead over the Hartford Whalers 1-0 on a goal by Mark Napier. St. Louis and Detroit are tied up in the first period 1-1. Peter Zezel has scored for the Blues. That's his 10th of the year now. Gerard Gallant has hit for the Detroit Red Wings. Quebec and Edmonton, Vancouver at Winnipeg later on. And a basketball score in the second quarter. It's Charlotte trailing the Bullets. Charlotte has 26 and the Bullets with 41 in the second period of that game. More hockey to talk about from Madison Square Garden in New York after we pause for these messages here on DC 20.
Capitals and Rangers coming back on the ice right now. Capitals holding the 3-0 lead over New York. Look at the statistics for that first period. The Capitals with a 14-13 advantage in shots. The penalty minutes with the Washington Capitals having a few more, just a couple more penalty minutes than the New York Rangers. Capitals, though, the only team to score on the power play. Rangers went off the ice to boos. This Madison Square Garden crowd came back onto the ice with a very lukewarm response. Only a smattering of applause could be heard. So the Capitals always like to jump on top of this Ranger team early to take the crowd out of the game and turn the crowd quickly against the New York Rangers when possible.
We're ready to go now with the second period. Dave Christian is on the left. Over on the right side is Mike Miller. Bengt Gustafsson is at center. Kerry Fraser drops the puck, and Gustafsson wins the draw from Kerry Wilson. The Caps dump it in, and David Shaw clears it up the sideboards for Ulf Dahlen. Back to the Washington blue line, Larry Murphy. Over to Gustafsson, and now to Scott Stevens. Passes across the blue line. In goes Shaw to pick it up. Up the right wing boards and out to center ice for Wilson. Right side for Tony Granato. Stevens steals the puck. Clears it back to center. Centering pass right in front. The Rangers score. Pete Peters made the initial save, and on the second crack at it, New York gets it by Pete. And the Rangers are on the board. It's now 3-1.
Well, exactly what the Rangers needed, a goal to get themselves and this crowd back in the contest. Granato with some great hustle and good work again, and watch Wilson in front. Larry Murphy makes a nice play. He gets the stick down there to prevent that pass from Leach for just a moment, but it does get sent in front. And there you see Granato tipping it in. Brian Leach jumping up, starting the play as Gustafsson came out at Wilson. Larry Murphy stops that pass for just a moment, but once Leach finally gets it away, it may have gone off Scott Stevens for just a moment, and Granato, as he seems to be almost every time the Capitals play the Rangers, is right in the spot he needs to be to pop that goal home. 3-1 now. Capital lead has been cut.
Number 2, Brian Leach. Number 17, Kerry Wilson.
And now the whistle is blown. I think the Caps are going to get themselves a penalty for interference. So the Rangers will have a power play now to further cut into the Washington lead.
Rod Langway's not happy about the call as he talks it over with Kerry Fraser. Mike Gartner making a plea now, but it's Francis Sketty who's going to go to the penalty box for interference.
Rod Langway set in front. There you see Francis Getty. They say knock down James Patrick in front of the net. So the Caps have to take on the New York Ranger power play. They were unsuccessful with the Rangers with their first chance. Although Brian Mullen had a golden opportunity as he was set up by Kerry Wilson and missed an open net.
Here's Langway back at his own line. Throws it off the sideboards and clears it all the way down the ice. Led ahead back into the Washington zone. Pete Peters puts it in the corner. Langway with Sheehy. Langway steers it back to the point. Rangers start to pressure. And now Dion goes to the corner after it. Marcel Dion. Rink-wide pass. A slap shot. Saved by Peters. Rebound is shot wide by Mullen. Brian Mullen digs it out of the corner. Now back to Mullen. Puts it right in front. Leach a backhander, and Langway steals and clears. Lead pass back to the Washington line. Here's Dahlin. Throwing it into the Capital zone. Slap shot. Clearing play broken up, and it finally ends up on Gartner's stick, so the Caps get out of the jam. Gartner comes back and fires a shorthanded blast up into the crowd.
Marcel Dion was the Ranger player parked in front, just had that pass hop over his stick, allowed the Caps to break out of the zone. Now Sandstrom and Hatcher, who were in the penalty box for serving high sticking calls late in the first period, with his stoppage in play, are out and available for duty. And will be put immediately to work by both their coaches. Sandstrom will be out there with Granato. Shaw will be on the right point, Leach on the left point. Kerry Wilson will be the centerman. Ben Gustafson, Mike Gartner, Kevin Hatcher, and Scott Stevens, the penalty killers for Washington.
The draw comes back to Scott Stevens, and he lobs it off the sideboards and clears it all the way down back into the Ranger zone. Here's Wilson, taken over at the blue line by Kevin Hatcher. He finds Stevens up on the right wing, too far for Gartner. Van Beesbrook in the corner. Leads it behind the net. Here's Shaw. Jammed up by Mike Gartner. Back comes Kerry Wilson to pick it up. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Flips it end over end and clears it all the way down the ice. And Leach starts out to Granato. He's across the line. Drop pass from Sandstrom. Granato fires. He grazes the goalpost with that hot drive. In the corner, Langway steals the puck. Over to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher gets around a broken stick and starts ahead to Lou Francischetti. Across the line, he drops it off. Bobby Gould flips it wide of the net. Now it's sent back to center ice. Langway dumps it right back into the Ranger zone. A lead pass for Granato is taken over. And Larry Murphy sends it back to center. James Patrick dumps it into the Capitals' end. Murphy ahead for Francischetti, gets across the line for Gould. He fires, and a save made by Van Beesbrook. Now behind the net, James Patrick finds the puck and starts ahead for Kissio on right wing. Kelly Kissio out to Kevin Miller, but offside called as Ogrodnik was ahead of the play on left wing. There's a break in the action with the score: the Capitals 3 and the Rangers 1.
On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can spread out over breakfast. The air shuttle encourages closer working relationships. On Metroliner service, you can have a private conversation. The plane, however, offers conference calls. On Amtrak's Metroliner service, you can...
For the rest of the action for the season, the sales reps are standing by at the Capitol Center. You can give them a call at 386-7000. It's a great home schedule. It still remains. Wayne Gretzky and the LA Kings come in a couple more times. The Edmonton Oilers will be in on January 13th, plus an appearance by the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flames, and 7 more Patrick Division home games remaining. We said if you'd like more information, sales reps are standing by. Answer your questions. The number 386 7,000.
Faceoff will be just outside the blue line of the Washington zone. There's Kelly Kissio leaning in for the draw against Hunter. The Rangers get it. Hunter back to chase the puck, sends it off the sideboards and finds Steve Leach. Left wing side for Courtnall. Courtnall walks in, back to the point for Hatcher, dekes his way around a checker, and finally it's taken away by Kissio, who starts the Ranger rush. Hunter is back. Here's the pass, fires, and it's on goal, but the save is made by Peters. He had to stop that drive from left wing, and John Ogrodnik had the shot. But Peters made the save.
Well, with Hatcher trying to get that puck, he loses his skates and goes down, and that allows the Rangers to jump out. Dale Hunter gets back. Watch, it's going to be Grant Ledyard who's directing traffic. He's going to tell Courtnall and Hunter to get over on that other side. He'll take the puck carrier. The Rangers still do get it to the open man as Hunter goes down a bit. Pete Peters back pretty far on that net. Still is able to make the save. Ledyard goes at Kissio. Courtnall really can't pick up Ogrodnik, and neither can Hunter. And Ogrodnik gets a pretty good shot away.
Caps get this draw, and Scott Stevens hustles to the corner. And sent off the left wing boards by Gustafson out to center ice. Dave Christian ties up with Jan Eriksson. Gets the return pass now from the winger Mike Miller. Here's a drive on net. Van Beesbrook makes the save. Back to the point. Dahlin is able to press in, and he holds on to Larry Murphy. Gustafson has to hustle back and get it. Ulf Dahlin picks it up in neutral ice. At the blue line, finds Patrick skating in, and he gets that off the inside of the pad of Pete Peters, but it deflects wide. Now Leach tries to send it in front. Dave Christian comes up with a puck. Here's Christian across the line. Dumps it in. Christian tries to find his point man Stevens, and it's taken over by Dion. Scott Stevens in the corner. Skates away from Sandstrom. Sends it all the way back inside the Ranger zone. For New York, Kerry Wilson tries to work his way around Rod Langway. The shot is on target, but Peters makes the save. Back comes Mike Ridley with Gartner. Poke checked at the line. Francischetti has the puck. Taken over by Granato. Wilson on the comeback. Right side. Brian Leach checked by Rod Langway. Kerry Wilson jams up behind the goal. Mike Ridley tries to move it along. Now it's centered, and Sandstrom's shot hit a skate. And now it's cleared out of the zone to center. Lead pass for Kerry Wilson. He fires, and that's deflected and sails up into the seats for a souvenir. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals 3, the Rangers 1.
Pressure on the Capitals. They've outshot Washington 7-2 so far in this second period. Have not been victims of the Capital forechecking pressure as they were in that first period.
Kelly Kissio out there to work the draw and sends to the backboards, but Ledyard gets there first. Now Kissio recovers, flips it right in front, looking for Ogrodnik. Backhand shot. Kissio sent the drive right on net, but Peters got his stick on it. Now into the corner. Ledyard moves it along the sideboards and gets it to the blue line. Picked up again by Grant Ledyard. Stolen puck. Here's Mullen, a hot drive, and that missed high. Patrick skates it in for Kissio, and Christian sends it back into the corner. Ledyard covers up and hangs on just as it comes free. Kissio digs it out. The Ranger captain felt that he had gotten it loose. But Kerry Fraser had already blown the whistle.
Well, not only aren't the Rangers allowing themselves to get forechecked by the Capitals, they're doing a great job of forechecking Washington. His last 30 seconds all set up because of the excellent job done by Kissio, Mullen, and Ogrodnik. really putting pressure on the Caps defense, creating a turnover up at the blue line on Grant Ledyard. Down in the corner here, they get a shot, scoring opportunity. Now watch as this puck is going to start to make its way out after Pete Peters will make the initial save. The first man to it is John Ogrodnik. Ledyard was able to get that later, but before he could get it completely out of the zone, the Rangers steal it again and start the play back in.
From the faceoff, it's sent to the corner. Ulf Dahlen pinned by Scott Stevens. Now Hunter skates away with the puck. Dale Hunter across the blue line to Courtnall. Courtnall sends it right in front of the net, but David Shaw breaks it up. Leach steals, and Stephen Leach's shot is stopped by Van Beesbroek. Lead pass to center. Here's Dahlen firing, and Peters just got a very tip of that and was able to clear it wide. Keeps it in. Dahlen behind the net, jams up with Larry Murphy. Shot at the side of the goal. Murphy clears it out, and Steve Leach gets it out of the zone where Erickson has to go chase it to center. Dumped right back into the Washington end of the rink, and this time a whistle blows. The Rangers are offside on the play with 11:59 to go here in the second period.
Be sure to be with WDCA TV 20 Saturday night as the Bullets travel to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on the new Charlotte Hornets live at 7:30 p.m. Join Mel Proctor and Phil Chenier as they call all the action right here on your superstation for sports, DC 20.
Well, it appears evident that the Rangers are not going to allow the same type of domination that the Capitals showed during the first period.
Well, this is the way they have been so successful. They've started to get their skating game on track. We talked about their forechecking pressure. Watch how they kind of try and half-ice you, kind of divide the ice in half and pin you up along the boards, and they're doing that a little more successfully, working in the corners and trapping the Capitals defensemen before they can really make that first initial pass to get it out of the zone.
Capitals missing Kelly Miller with a knee injury that they are now calling a Charlie horse. Ivan Korovo scratched from the lineup. New York scratching Joe Patterson and Guy Lafleur, while Michel Petit, Chris Nyland, Norman Rochefort, and Paul Cyr are all out because of injury. Here's Rod Langway chasing Kerry Wilson. He throws to the corner. Langway comes up with the puck and sends it all the way back inside the New York zone. The icing's been waved off. And Beesbroek sends it up the boards, and that'll come back to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher at his own line, over to Langway. Langway now to Dave Christian. Dumps it right back in. Gartner on the right wing, throws it behind the net. It comes out of the zone as Wilson works to center ice. Kerry Wilson back into the Washington end, flips it on net. Peters the save. Now Stevens ahead for Ridley. Brian Leach, the Ranger rookie defenseman, his wrist shot caught by Pete Peters, and he covers up as the Capitals scramble to keep the other Rangers away from the front of that net.
There's a break. 24th New York Rangers shot of the night. Went off the stick of Brian Leach, with Kelly Kissia waving his stick up near Pete Peters' glove to try and get some sort of deflection and pop it out of the leather. Pete was able to stop it and cover up to force this draw between DeBlois and Mike Ridley.
Falls face-off. Mike Civic ready to drop it again between DeBlois and Ridley. Ridley is able to hold DeBlois off, and that allows Gartner to clear it to the point, but it's kept in. James Patrick's shot is on. The rebound bounces out front and hit Ridley, and then right back into Pete Peters, but he was ready for it and made the catch.
His rebound took a very crazy camera. I think Pete was trying to save it and kick it out towards the corner, but it kind of comes back out into traffic and goes off his own player. He's got to be alert again. 28 shots on goal now for the Rangers. That means they have put on 15 this second period alone. 18 for the Capitals. Been limited to just 4 shots in the second stanza.
From the draw, James Patrick's drive is stopped by Peters, and the rebound cleared out. Now here comes Larry Murphy up ahead for Mike Ridley. Left wing side to Lou Francischetti into the Ranger zone. Taken over by James Patrick. He sends it off the sideboards, and it's cleared out to center ice. But Francischetti hustles to get it. And it's finally cleared back to the Washington line. Here's Ridley on a pass from Murphy. Up to center. Inside the Ranger zone, tries to get around his check. Here's Ridley centering for Gartner. Can't to it. Van Beesbrook makes the save. And Scott Stevens gets around Ulf Dahlin to keep the play inside Rangers' end. Now to the corner. Dion jams up. Mike Gartner held up on the play by Dion. There's going to be a penalty call coming. I believe this is against New York, as Marcel Dion had a pretty good grip on Mike Gartner, and holding is the penalty.
Marcel Dion gets a 2-minute call for holding. Time for the second Circuit City power play contest. Contestant number 2, Elaine Farland of Washington, D.C. Elaine has chosen the man that Marcel Dion threw to the ice, Mike Gartner. Hoping he'll be the Capitals player to score in this power play. If Gartner scores, Elaine, you receive a video or stereo unit courtesy of Circuit City.
Where was Elaine back in the first period?
Yeah.
When Gartner got his power play goal. Maybe he'll get another one here. Mike Miller back to the point. Now to Scott Stevens. He gives it off to Dave Christian. Rink-wide pass, and it's picked up by Jan Eriksson. He clears it out to center. Tony Granato. Shouldered by Scott Stevens. The puck comes back inside the line for Jan Eriksson. The shorthanded Rangers don't just dump it down. They're still playing with it. And finally, 4 Capitals press in on Eriksson, and they freeze him there to stop play.
This faceoff will come out of the zone, saying that Eriksson was holding on to the puck to force the faceoff. Eriksson comes off. It's a little bit of breather, as does David Shaw. Tony Granato is just a super pest. We've already seen him score the goal tonight. Scott Stevens trying to disrupt Granato's game a little bit by being physical with him, laying the body on him as he did in the very first shift of the game. Granato pretty feisty, gives the stick right back to Scott Stevens.
Still a minute 25 left on the penalty call to Marcel Dion. And the Capitals come back on the power play attack once more. Dale Hunter shoots it back inside the Ranger zone. James Patrick can't get to it. Dale Hunter's there. He spun off his skates, and the puck is cleared out of there. Now a hand pass ruling coming from linesman Dale McCourt, or Dan McCourt, who stopped play. So we'll have another draw inside the New York zone. A lot of rumors going around about some trades that might happen, and the name of Bob Probert came up tonight in the press room, didn't it?
Heard that he was just a hair away from being a Calgary Flame. Flames and Red Wings have almost pulled the trigger on that deal. Rumored Joel Otto or possibly even Doug Gilmour going to Detroit for Probert. Jacques Demers says Jimmy Devellano will make a deal soon.
Here's Larry Murphy winding. He sends a blazer just wide of the net. Stevens tries to keep it in. Murphy back to pick it up. 50 seconds left in the Washington power play. Lead pass to Courtnall. Sends it across the line. Mike Gartner fires from a close-in angle, but Van Beesbrook is able to stop that, and he holds on. Gartner still with 40 more seconds to score on the power play for Elaine Fairland, who picked Mike Gartner for our Circuit City power play contest.
Uses the boards as he lets the puck come back out to him. Drives the shot on Van Beesbrook. Van Beesbrook very smartly covering up. A lot of Capitals bearing down on him, and tough shot to be able to control the rebound on.
From the draw, the Capitals have it, but it's poke checked away, and here's Murphy to keep it in. Nice play. Now there's going to be a penalty call, though, as Courtnall is whistled to the penalty box for pulling down the Rangers' Lucien Deblois.
Well, that allowed Larry Murphy to keep it in because Courtnall took him down. Although it did look like Deblois, in an effort to make that spin to get at Larry Murphy, was on his way down anyway. But it's the fact that Courtnall even got the stick in there, the way Deblois was going anyway. Thought in the mind of Kerry Fraser, who called it all the way from the other side of the ice. On that replay, it certainly looked like Deblois was on his way down without any help.
Doug Gilmour or Joel Otto, I would think, would be quite an acquisition for the Detroit Red Wings. Of course, Bob Probert, when he plays, can certainly be a good player for Detroit. Speaking of the Blues, Gilmore used to play for St. Louis, and a couple of St. Louis names coming up as possibilities.
Actually, the same last name, two different first names.
That's right.
Paul and Gino Cavallini. Possibilities of going to the New Jersey Devils.
Say that here's a turnaround attempt right in front that's blocked. Of course, the Capitals enjoyed having Paul Cavallini when he played with Washington. Myself, I think I'd hate to see Gino come into this division against Washington. Leach back on the blue line. Ranger fans wanted a penalty there. Here's a centering attempt, and that goes off the skates of Mullen. Mullen back to the point. Wrist shot. Peters makes the stop. Hatcher pokes it out. And now there's going to be a whistle and a hand pass as Hatcher knocked it down with his glove, trying to send it ahead to his teammate, and got it there. Now Ledyard is being kept apart from Kissio.
Bergeron is not just happy that the play was called down for a hand pass. He wants a penalty. Gustafsson trying to get his skates on it, and you see him wrestling the player to the ice. Possibly been Kissio. A little altercation in front on the other side as well involving Kissio. And Michel Bergeron can't believe there isn't a penalty call to go with it. Gary Fraser declines to make one, just calls it down on the hand pass. Still 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining in the Courtnall call for Hookey.
7:09 remaining in the second period. All three of the Washington goals came in the first period. Courtnall, Gartner, and Mike Miller. Here's a delayed penalty call coming up against Washington. Out of the nets comes Van Beesbrook. The Rangers throw a sixth attacker out there. And now we get the whistle, and it's going to... And Brian Murray isn't happy with that.
Watch Bengt Gustafsson when Thomas Sandstrom makes that turn over towards the boards. Gets the stick up there along the shoulder. Gary Fraser hesitated for a moment. No, it really didn't get that stick up there in the face, but the stick, no question, was up there above the shoulder and around the face area. And Gary Fraser decides to make the call there. 45 seconds still left in the call to Courtnall. So a 5-on-3 situation for the New York Rangers. The game could turn right here.
Capitals have to get that first penalty killed off. Here's Leach back at the point. They need to get Courtnall out of the box. Leach feeds it over. A shot by Wilson right on net, at the side of the net. Langway keeps the pressure on. Manages to hold on to it, killing off some more time, and now Sandstrom has the puck. He can't get it centered. It's cleared to the point. Walking in is Brian Leach. His drive goes just wide of the net. Kerry Wilson with the puck. Slap shot is blocked and out of the zone.
That'll kill off the penalty to Courtnall. 3 defensemen out there killing the penalty for the Capitals.
Now it's a 5-on-4 manpower advantage. A shot on net. Peters makes the save. The rebound stuffed at the side of the goal. It goes wide of the net. Peters has been knocked down. There's a jam up right in front of the goal. And Gary Fraser had blown the whistle twice to try and get the players to stop play. And now things get settled down right in front of the net where all that pushing and shoving was occurring, and Pete Peters is just now getting up after being knocked into the Washington net.
Boy, an interesting situation for the Capitals in that 5-on-3. First time I've seen Brian Murray go with 3 defensemen. Normally it would be 2 defensemen and a forward. They had Hatcher out there killing off the penalty at the forward position. Granato gets knocked down to the ice by Scott Stevens. Good job clearing things in front. Now Courtnall's back out in action. Stevens goes out there to play Sandstrom, gets the puck, but can't clear it. The Rangers able to turn around and get one more chance. The good isolated work. You see the job Scott Stevens doing. Not letting people really set up in front. Stevens has about 2 opportunities to clear it, but again, good work by the Ranger points to keep that pressure on. But Scott Stevens doing the heavy physical work in front. Exactly the way you want that play.
Ray Ferraro and Ron Francis have scored for Hartford. Pierre Turgeon for Buffalo, and the Whalers and Sabres are now tied at 2-2. Cliff Ronning has scored for St. Louis to give the Blues a 2-1 lead over Detroit. Gord Donnelly has hit for Winnipeg. They lead the Vancouver Canucks 1-0 in the first period. The other two games are second period scores on our Giant Food scoreboard. In the corner, Bobby Gould comes up with it and sends it all the way down the ice. Here comes Brian Leach. 35 seconds left in the Ranger power play. Ulf Dahlen behind the goal. Over to James Patrick. Back in the corner for Kissio. Out front, Leach a shot. Peters with the pad save. And Hatcher's able to clear it all the way down the ice. Marcel Dion walks in, shoots. Scott Stevens makes the block. Mark Hardy back to the point. Scott Stevens takes over and brings it ahead now for Gartner. Mike Gartner winds, his shot blocked. Deflected into the corner, and Gustafson goes to chase after it. Here's Kissio to center. Back inside the Washington zone, and David Shaw whacks at it, trying to keep it inside the line, and as it comes across, it's offside. There's a break in the action. The Rangers 3-0.
On to the 3-1 lead with 4:28 left to go. Thanks to the great play by the Capital penalty killers and some spectacular work by Pete Peters, who has faced 21 shots in this second period alone.
Rangers have outshot the Caps for the evening 34-20 at this point in the game. Pittsburgh was held to 14 shots by Washington on Monday afternoon. Here's Mike Ridley. Into the corner. Lou Francischetti alongside to throw a hit, but now Kevin Miller flips it back out to center ice. Sheehy dumps it in, and here comes Ridley after it. Throws it rink wide for Francischetti. Bounces it on goal, but Van Beesbrook makes the save.
The Capitals return home this weekend for a great doubleheader. It starts on Friday night with the Toronto Maple Leafs in town at 8:05. All women and children under 16 eligible to shoot after the game for ice cream. Then on Saturday night, the Chicago Blackhawks come in at 7:35 face-off time. All fans in attendance receive a team pennant. There are still plenty of good seats remaining at all Hex, Ticket Center outlets, or call phone charge at 432-0200 or the toll-free number 1-800-448-9009. As always, operators on duty until 10 p.m. tonight.
Dale Hunter leans in for the draw. Penalty's over now to Gustafson, so the Capitals back at full strength. Stevens a high blast off the glass. At the right point, here's Murphy a shot. That's tipped wide of the net. Now Steve Leach tries to wrap it around in front, and it's played all the way out to center. James Patrick starts out. Moves it ahead now to Kerry Wilson on the right point. His drive is on goal. Peters the save, and Dale Hunter, a magnificent checking job, was able to catch up to the puck and keep it from going into the net. A marvelous scoring chance for the Rangers. Icing is the call here against Washington, but some great work done at the other end by Dale Hunter.
Save the day. Peters was down, the net wide open, and Dale Hunter with a masterful defensive play. This is what it's so important for the Capitals, to make sure they get people back in. Again, it's that Thomas Sandstrom, very dangerous, but look at Hunter stick out that stick and help Pete Peters out, as Sandstrom was able to pry that puck loose and get a good scoring opportunity. The Ranger pressure has been relentless in this second period. A whack at it by Stevens, but there is Dale Hunter to whack the stick of Thomas Sandstrom and prevent what looked to be a certain goal. 3-1 Capitals still in the lead. Pete Peters, who's been outstanding tonight, with a big assist from Dale Hunter just moments ago.
Pete Peters has posted wins in 4 of his last 5 outings. And has a 3-1 lead here tonight with 3:10 to go in the second period. Here's Bengt Gustafson starting out to center. Gets across the blue line. Pass stolen. The Rangers come back. On the left wing is Ogrodnik. He's checked into the corner boards by Kevin Hatcher. the left point. Kissio chased by Gustafson. Gus tries to work it free. And now it comes out to Dave Christian. Christian clears it all the way down the ice. The icing's been waved off. Into the corner goes Mike Miller. Rink wide pass out to Mullen. Finds Ogrodnik. Into the Washington zone. Ogrodnik battles with Murphy. Can't get by him. Centering pass knocked out of there by Larry Murphy. And here comes Bob Gould starting back. Flips it across the line. Back inside the Ranger zone. Scott Stevens ahead for Peter Sundstrom. Taken over by James Patrick. 1 minute and 50 seconds left to play here in the second period. Capitals have the lead 3-1. Tie-up along the sideboards now and play is called. Rangers have done very well this season against the Patrick Division clubs. They have 12 wins, 4 losses, and 2 ties. Their record is the best in the Patrick Division against the Patrick Division. And the opportunity is certainly there for New York to pick up some more points, because tonight's the first of 5 straight games that the Rangers will play against Patrick Division teams, and I see the Penguins are next coming in here.
Well, coming into this year, that was priority number 1 for the New York Rangers, improve their play within the division. They saw how the New Jersey Devils had a winning record last year in divisional play and beat out the Rangers for that final playoff spot, while the Rangers were under 500 against Patrick Division opponents. So it's no accident that the Rangers have really geared up and particularly more intense in their Patrick Division games, because they feel that really is going to be the key to their success into making the playoffs.
The Capitals have 8 wins against the Patrick Division with 12 losses and a tie, but their best number right now is their record on home ice, where Washington has won 13 games, lost 5 and tied 2. And they've got 2 home games coming up this weekend against Chicago on Saturday and Toronto on Friday night. Marcel Dion at the center line. Checked, and Sundstrom throws it back into the Ranger zone. Brian Leetch is back to chase it. 1 minute 10 seconds to play here in the second period. Marcel Dion throws it into the Washington zone. John Druce is in after it. He's hit by Dion, but it's Dion who goes flying. We're in the final minute of play of the period. Sundstrom in the corner. Back to Scott Stevens. Stevens into the skates of Ridley. And Mike Ridley starts out of his own zone, now skates it up to center ice. Ridley across the blue line, throwing it in behind the Ranger net. Gartner in the corner. Tries to come out front for Ridley, but it's poked away. And Tony Granato skates out to center. Granato inside the Washington zone, gets around Stevens. He's in front, but it's played away by Hatcher. And back out to the center line. Sandstrom can't get by Hatcher in the corner, and Hatcher clears it over to Gartner on right wing. Now the puck takes a bounce off the corner boards back toward the Washington net, and the Capitals clear it with 12 seconds to go in the second period. Here's a backhand shot by Gustafson right at the buzzer. The shot's on goal during the second period. Washington with 7, a 2-period total of 21. And New York with 22 shots on goal during that period, giving them a total of 35 for the night so far. Rangers get the period's only goal from Tony Granato, but the Capitals still lead 3-1. His team leading total. Here's his 21st from Leetch and Wilson.
Well, you see the play. I mean, Larry Murphy makes a nice play trying to cut off that pass, and he doesn't get the pass off. I'm talking about Leetch when he wants to. But that shot comes in. I think it bounces off Stevens, goes back out there to where Granato is able to whack it in there. So, you know, the right out from the start came the New York Rangers. They had a power play shortly after. The Capitals killed it off, and that really helped to try and slow them down. Even though the shots continued to come on, they weren't able to get that second goal by. I think if they had gotten that second goal on any of their power play situations, they may have been able to pump a third pass. The fact that the Capitals still have that 2-goal lead, that's a major plus for them, despite being badly outplayed in the second period.
You also talked about Pete Peters' goaltending. You know, there were a lot of good defensive plays made by the players in front of Pete. I can think of one in particular by Dale Hunter, where he came back and prevented Sandstrom from getting what was to be, I think, a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity.
Well, that's always going to be the case with the Capitals when they're playing good defense. The defensemen are strong, very physical players, but if they don't get help from at least one forward coming back, any defense is going to get eaten up. I don't care how good the goaltending and the defensemen are. And when the Capitals are playing right, there's always a forward back helping defensively. And in this case, the instance you're talking about, Dale Hunter makes a great play. A little earlier in the period, we saw when Kevin Hatcher trying to make a play in the offensive zone, falling down. Ledyard was the only defenseman back. Hustling back is both Hunter and Courtnall to prevent what could have been a pure 3-on-1. Kind of made it just to a 3-on-2 and then a late even situation there with Courtnall getting back in the play. That's the help that the forwards are giving, even though those 22 shots said something was going wrong for the Caps.
Take a look at the out-of-town scorers, and they're brought to you by Giant Food. First of all, Hartford and Buffalo. It's now the Whalers 3 and the Buffalo Sabres 2 at the odd. Brian Lawton has come up with his 9th goal of the year on the power play to give Hartford that lead over Buffalo. St. Louis is now trailing Detroit. It's the Red Wings 3 and the Blues 2. Gerard Gallant now has a hat trick in that game, and they're only in the second period at the Joe Louis Arena. Quebec at Edmonton just getting started. Vancouver at Winnipeg. It's Donnelly and Howardchuk scoring for the Jets, and they're up 2-0 over the Vancouver Canucks in the first period. The Bullets score is now 77-54. The Bullets in the lead over Charlotte. More hockey coverage coming up from Madison Square Garden in New York after we pause for these messages on your superstation for sports, DC 20.